time, whatever the song was, whatever the situation is, be the best me I can be. And hopefully it works.
The short remark in Lil Wayne's interview may sound simple, but it feels like the perfect summary of his life. At 42, Wayne is no longer seen solely as a rapper with an impressive catalog of achievements, but as a man carrying countless stories that have never been fully told. For over 2 decades, he has navigated both the spotlight and the shadows of broken relationships. A godfather who turned into a rival brothers-in-arms, who once shared his journey but later turned away, and even protégés who once idolized him but eventually left him with doubt and danger. Now the rumors of a blacklist of 10 rappers Wayne refuses to collaborate with seem to unveil part of that truth, each name representing a wound, each a bitter lesson. But is this Wayne's way of finally closing the door on a stormy past, or merely the opening to another string of controversies? And which of these rivalries is the deepest scar Weezy has yet to heal? Birdman, the godfather who became a rival. Of all the relationships that shaped Lil Wayne, none left a deeper scar than Birdman. Since the late 1990s, Brian Birdman Williams was more than just the boss of Cash Money Records. He was a second father figure to the teenage Dwayne Carter. They often appeared side by side, even sharing a controversial kiss on television as a symbolic gesture of their chosen father-son bond. Wayne called him Daddy, and that trust was immortalized in their joint album Like Father Like Son 2006. It was Birdman who gave the 14-year-old Wayne his first shot in the studio, signed his first contract, and turned him into the golden child of Cash Money. But what once seemed unbreakable eventually collapsed when the bright lights of success could no longer mask the clash of interests. In 2014, the cracks split wide open when Thaw Carter Fef, a project Wayne had spent years preparing, was indefinitely delayed. To Wayne, it was not just an album but a landmark that would cement his legacy after a decade of dominance. Yet Birdman, the man he still called father, refused to let it see the light of day. The feeling of being imprisoned was clear when Wayne tweeted, "I want off this label. I feel like a prisoner, and so does my creativity." A short sentence heavy with bitterness, especially coming from an artist who had been utterly loyal to the Cash Money family. Soon after, Wayne filed a $51 million lawsuit accusing Birdman of sabotaging his career. In that moment, the world saw how a father-son bond in music could shatter under the weight of contracts and money. Wayne's reaction was not confined to the courtroom. It echoed in the silence of long tours and the vacant look when he mentioned Cash Money, and in the raw outbursts of "fuck Cash Money" on stage signs of how deep the wound went. People say Wayne turned to JayZ and Tidal as a way out, a temporary home free from Birdman's control. And yet, strangely enough, the two were sometimes seen together again. In 2018, Birdman even issued a public apology to Wayne. Was there still a piece of that old bond lingering beneath the lawsuits and harsh words? Or was it nothing more than formalities between two men who once treated each other as family? This story reveals more than just a personal feud. It exposes the darker side of the American music industry, where loyalty and contracts overlap, where a man can be father, boss, and adversary all at once. Behind Cash Money's glory, a label that generated hundreds of millions of dollars since the late 1990s, was a system that bound artists, often forcing them to trade creative freedom for protection and success. Should Birdman be blamed for seeing Wayne's career through a business lens, or Wayne for wanting liberation from the very empire that raised him? And more profoundly, is this the inevitable cycle of hip-hop culture, where loyalty is constantly tested by money and power? The fractures within the Cash Money family did not end with the father-son bond. After Birdman, Lil Wayne had to face the loss of brotherhood among his former Hot Boys crew, with Juvenile being the first to make him feel the sting of betrayal in the rap world. Juvenile, brotherhood broken within the Hot Boys. If Birdman symbolized the father figure who both nurtured and hurt him, then Juvenile embodied the pain of a brother once by his side. In the late 1990s, the name Hot Boys was the pride of Southern hip-hop. Within the group, Juvenile was the brightest star, the older brother guiding a young 15-year-old Lil Wayne. His album 400 Degrees 1998 sold over 4 million copies, becoming a milestone that propelled Cash Money to the mainstream and gave Wayne his first real lessons under the stage lights. To Wayne, Juvenile was the symbol of a generation ahead of him, a role model to look up to. But brotherhood could not withstand the weight of profit. In 2001, Juvenile left Cash Money after financial disputes with Birdman, triggering the eventual breakup of the Hot Boys. Wayne, the youngest of the crew, chose to stay. That decision planted the seeds of suspicion. Just a year later, Juvenile released the track A-Ho 2002, where he mocked Wayne for the infamous televised kiss with Birdman. With harsh words, Juvenile seemed determined to show that his younger brother had picked a side and lost his authenticity. Rather than lash out or trade insults, Wayne let music speak for him. His track, I Miss My Dogs 2004, resonated like a confession, a bittersweet ode to the brothers who had left. I miss my dogs. Wayne rapped in a somber tone as if to say Juvenile was not just a colleague but a piece of his youth. It was not a dagger of retaliation, but a scar of the soul. Yet in Juvenile's anger at that time, were those words ever truly heard? Or were they merely echoes lost in an empty room, in a culture that treasures realness, truth, and loyalty? Wayne's decision to remain with Cash Money could be seen as betrayal. But from another perspective, it was simply the choice of a young man trying to hold on to his career during uncertain times. Was anyone truly right or wrong in that moment? Or was it merely the inevitable result of an industry where every decision could mean survival? When Juvenile returned to Cash Money in 2014, many saw it as a sign of forgiveness. Wayne and Juvenile even reunited on a few stages, as if the past had partly quieted. But could the fracture in trust ever fully disappear? Or was it only buried beneath the dust of time, resurfacing now and then as a dull ache in memory? From this broken brotherhood, one lesson stood clear: in hip-hop family does not always mean forever. And by leaving Juvenile taught Wayne a different kind of loss, the kind that doesn't come from enemies, but from those who once called each other dog. After Juvenile, that lesson would repeat with another face from the Hot Boys. B.G. Wayne's childhood friend, he once considered blood, who would become yet another wound just as deep. B.G., childhood friend turned enemy, then brother again. In Lil Wayne's childhood memories, the name B.G. Baby Gangsta is forever tied to the sweltering afternoons of New Orleans, when two boys dreamed of escaping a neighborhood steeped in violence. They grew up under the Cash Money roof, forming the Hot Boys alongside Juvenile and Turk, a group that shook the South with gritty raps and street anthems. For Wayne, B.G. was more than a teammate. He was a brother, a living part of his youth. Yet like Juvenile, B.G. left Cash Money in 2001 after financial disputes with Birdman, leaving Wayne alone within the label's embrace. From there, brotherhood slowly unraveled into suspicion. The wound deepened when B.G., struggling after leaving the label, publicly criticized Wayne multiple times. In 2009, he released the fiery diss track PIAN****, aimed squarely at Birdman, and Wayne branding them as traitors to old loyalties. The venom in his lyrics was more than just rap. It was the cry of a man who felt abandoned. To B.G., Wayne had changed from the kid he once mentored into a global superstar who seemed to forget his dog. Wayne never fired back directly, but his silence only widened the gap. The irony was striking in 2009, just as B.G. was arrested and handed a decade-long prison sentence for weapons possession. Wayne was at his peak, winning Grammys and selling millions of the Carter III. The contrast made the sense of injustice sharper. And when B.G. finally walked free at the end of 2023, his comeback track Gangstafied carried yet another barb at Wayne My Now Wheezy steady touring. But he's a BH and it's showing. The line felt like reopening an old wound. Fans were left wondering, had their brotherhood truly shattered? Yet soon after, B.G. spoke out. He called the lyric family business, affirming he still saw Wayne as a little brother, and revealed they had spoken the same night the track dropped. According to B.G., the jab was born of frustration. Wayne was too busy touring to consider his idea of a Hot Boys reunion tour. Beneath the harsh words, perhaps what lingered was not hatred, but longing, a desire to stand together once again. At 42, Lil Wayne likely understands that not every conflict is worth turning into lifelong enmity. B.G. remains both a childhood friend and a reminder of how complex the concept of family is in rap, sometimes side by side, sometimes divided but never meaningless. The lingering question is this: can Wayne and B.G. truly reunite as fans of the Hot Boys have long hoped, or will their bond forever remain a cycle of love and hurt intertwined? Gilly the Kid, ghostwriting accusations, and a reckless war of words. If Wayne's conflicts with Birdman, Juvenile, or B.G. all grew out of Cash Money family ties, then his clash with Gilly the Kid opened a very different wound: doubt over Lil Wayne's very talent. Gilly, a Philadelphia rapper, briefly signed with Cash Money in the early 2000s. He left little mark on the label, but after walking away, Gilly armed himself with a potent weapon, claims that he was the real pen behind Lil Wayne's verses on The Carter 2004. In hip-hop, the label of ghostwriter needing someone else to write your raps is a stain that's hard to wash away, because it strikes at the heart of realness, the core value of the culture. Gilly leaned into that stigma, crafting an image of himself as the ghost behind Wayne's success, with Wayne nothing more than the beneficiary. He went further, mocking Wayne's fashion choices and lavish spending, dismissing them as compensation for a lack of authenticity. His 2006 track Frontin' Like My Daddy targeted both Wayne and Birdman, parodying their hit Stuntin' Like My Daddy, while sending the message that Wayne lived in others' shadows both musically and personally. Wayne's response was less anger than a mix of dismissal and challenge. When pressed by the media, he replied only with a cold smirk and a single word, who, as if Gilly wasn't even worth acknowledging. On record, though, Wayne wasn't entirely silent. On mixtapes like Thaw Carter 2 Part 2, and later Da Drought 3, listeners caught subliminal shots, veiled lines aimed at Gilly. These weren't direct disses, but subtle affirmations Wayne didn't need to argue. His bars and relentless presence in hip-hop would speak for him. By refusing to mention Gilly outright, Wayne kept the upper hand, reducing his rival to an outsider in the public's perception. On the other hand, Gilly's career never broke through on the back of those accusations. A few years later, when Wayne was sentenced to prison in 2010, Gilly unexpectedly extended a message of luck, saying he didn't want to see Wayne fall off. It was a gesture that suggested the feud may have been less about deep hatred than about testing strength and carving space in a crowded industry. After that, Gilly's name gradually faded into the background while Wayne continued to dominate with Billboard charting albums and multi-million sales. After Gilly, Wayne's battles weren't only about questions of skill, they escalated into one of the most enduring and dramatic rivalries of his era. Pusha T, where artistic pride and tangled contracts would fuel a Cold War that stretched on for over a decade. Pusha T clips. The Silent War. In the mid-2000s, Lil Wayne appeared in Vibe magazine dressed head-to-toe in a bathing ape bape, the Japanese streetwear brand closely tied to Clips and Pharrell Williams. To Pusha T, Wayne's choice of fashion wasn't just a style statement, it was cultural appropriation, a move that felt like hijacking a symbol Clips had built their image around. What began as an issue of sneakers and hoodies quickly ignited into something bigger: honor, influence, and positioning within hip-hop. Clips fired back with Mr. Me Too, 2006, a track dripping with subliminal shots but unmistakably aimed at Wayne. He imitates me, follows me, wants to be me, that was the underlying message. Wayne didn't dodge the moment. He declared, "Talk to me like you're talking to the best. I don't see no Clips." The statement was a double-edged blade, a bold claim to the throne of best rapper alive, while simultaneously diminishing Clips as irrelevant. From that point, the beef transcended fashion. It became a battle of pride, a clash of Southern swagger against East Coast sharpness. Pusha T didn't stay quiet. From Re-Up Gang intro to Open Your Eyes, his verses carried layered jabs at Wayne. But the tension reached its peak in 2012 with Exodus 23:1. In that track, Pusha directly attacked the convoluted contract system binding Wayne to Cash Money and Young Money. "You signed to one NA that signed to another NA that signed to 3N asterisk asterisk as asterisk." The bar cut deep, exposing Wayne's long-criticized vulnerability, being trapped in a web of deals where profits and control were siphoned off at multiple levels. For Pusha, it wasn't just an insult to Wayne, but a broader commentary on the exploitation embedded in the music industry, where artists often become pawns in the hands of executives. Wayne struck back quickly. He tweeted F asterisk asterisk Pusha T, and anybody that love him asterisk, then dropped the diss track Ghoulish. Yet ironically, the move backfired. Ghoulish was widely panned weak, unfocused, lacking the sharpness Wayne's fans expected. Even his own supporters admitted it fell short. Pusha, true to his icy composure, dismissed it as trash and refused to respond. In a culture where beef thrives on lyrical one-upmanship, Pusha's silence functioned as dominance, leaving Wayne in an awkward, almost defeated position. On a larger scale, the feud between Wayne and Pusha T highlights hip-hop's competitive DNA, how a fashion statement could spiral into a decade-long Cold War. It also underscores the fragility of the best rapper alive title, easily shaken by a single accusation, a clever metaphor, or a pointed contractual critique. Was Pusha's silence a masterstroke of strategy, Or was it simply his way of signaling that Wayne wasn't worth his energy? And for Wayne, did this minor defeat serve as a reminder that not every fight is worth waging to the bitter end? 50 Cent, from public trolling to a polite handshake. If Pusha T embodied the slow-burning, tense and lasting rivalry, then 50 Cent gave Lil Wayne a different kind of clash, a collision between two superstars at their peaks, equal parts media spectacle and battle of status. In 2007, Wayne was being hailed by MTV as the hottest MC in the game, while 50 Cent was still riding high as the face of Get Rich or Die Tryin'. With two giants orbiting the same spotlight, conflict seemed inevitable. 50 Cent struck first in a fashion only he could by mocking Wayne in public. He labeled him a hip-hop whore for collaborating with too many artists at once. Not stopping there, he released the diss track Part-Time Lover, poking fun at Wayne's relationship with Birdman. True to form, 50's barbs were sharp but entertaining, blurring the line between genuine disdain and pure trolling for the crowd's amusement. Wayne's response was unexpectedly disarming. Instead of retaliating with equal venom, he praised 50, calling him a role model of success and a billionaire he admired. This strategy surprised many. Wayne neutralized the attack not with fire, but with respect. Still, his pride was not untouched. Evidence came with the leaked track Louisianimal 2008, where pointed lines were rumored to be aimed directly at 50. Though never officially released, the demo hinted that Wayne hadn't completely brushed it off. 50 ever the provocateur kept the trolling alive. He threw more jabs in subsequent diss tracks and even filmed a video strumming a guitar to parody Wayne's experimental rock phase Rebirth. At times, the insults cut sharper. He even mocked Wayne's fashion choices. Yet when looked at closely, this was not deep-seated hatred, but a prolonged game of public ribbing, a war of words played out for headlines more than blood. What made the feud unique was how both men managed to keep it from spiraling into a real war. Wayne answered subtly, like the scene in a music video where he casually held and smirked at 50's autobiography, From Pieces to Weight. A sly dig, but nothing too harsh. 50 kept up his trolling rhythm, but never made Wayne his main long-term target. And when Wayne was hospitalized in 2012 for seizures, 50 set jokes aside and sent him a message of recovery. Later, the two were seen laughing together ringside at a Floyd Mayweather boxing match, closing the chapter with civility moving from insults to mutual respect. From this theatrical feud, Wayne moved on to face a far more symbolic clash, one where his lyrics brushed against the biggest name in hip-hop, JayZ. JayZ, Clash of the Crown when the protege challenges the king. In rap culture, the idea of a crown is both sacred and fragile. For Lil Wayne, JayZ was once the elder statesman. He revered a figure he studied closely from his earliest years. Wayne often called Jay his idol, even admitting he learned the craft of rhyme and structure from him. But when Jay announced his brief retirement in 2004, Wayne boldly declared himself the best rapper alive. What began as admiration slowly blended into ambition. If the throne is empty, then I will claim it. The most direct collision came in 2011. On Ham, JayZ dropped a sly jab aimed at Birdman and Wayne. Really, you got baby money. You ain't got my lady's money. The double entendre cut deep. Baby money, both mocking Birdman's name Baby and belittling their wealth compared to Beyoncé's. To outsiders, it was just classic Jay flexing with wit and arrogance. To Wayne, it was an insult to his family. Wayne fired back immediately on, "It's good from the Carter 4 talking about baby money. I got your baby money. Kidnap your B*****. Get that how much you love your lady money. Asterisk." The bar crossed from playful sparring into dangerous territory, suggesting violence toward Jay's wife. What was once wordplay became a high-stakes chess match where pride and emotion risked spiraling beyond the rap game, yet the beef never escalated. JayZ chose silence, treating it as part of the sport of hip-hop. Wayne brushed it off to the press, saying simply, "It is what it is." Perhaps deep down, both men understood a true war would cost them more than it could ever win. Still, the episode revealed something profound. Wayne saw in Jay not only a rival to surpass, but also a model of restraint. Jay didn't need to answer. The weight of his silence was enough. Wayne, after one fiery response, moved on. It highlighted the difference between an artist still eager to prove himself and an icon secure in his power. On a broader level, the clash reflected hip-hop's generational dynamic. The young push to outshine, to escape the shadows. The elders both inspire and provoke. For JayZ, a single casual bar was enough to rattle the next generation. For Wayne, the sharp rebuttal was both a challenge and an admission Jay was still too monumental to ignore. So the question lingers, were these clashes nothing more than the theater of rap designed to thrill audiences with sharp tongues? Or did they leave behind bruises of ego, subtle and enduring, that words alone could never fully heal? Young Thug, the failed protege, and the attempted murder scandal. Among the many relationships that scarred Lil Wayne, his saga with Young Thug carries a unique weight, at once a mirror of Wayne's influence and a wound of betrayal. Thug emerged in the early 2010s, drawing attention with his eccentric fashion sense and melodic rap style. He openly called Lil Wayne his idol, even admitting he only began rapping to imitate him. For a legend like Weezy, having successors shaped by his artistry was natural. What was unnatural was the way Thug chose to express his admiration. In 2015, while Wayne's long-awaited Thaw Carter 5 remained stuck in limbo due to his legal battle with Birdman, Young Thug announced he would release a mixtape titled Thaw Carter's a 6. To outsiders, it might have looked like a tribute. To Wayne, it was theft. He didn't mince words. Don't be fooled by that nonsense. Under pressure from Wayne's lawyers, the project was eventually renamed Barter 6. Yet the damage was done. Thaw Carter was Wayne's creative lifeblood, and for a self-proclaimed fan to attach himself to that legacy felt less like homage and more like an audacious claim to the throne. The feud soon leapt from words to violence. In April 2015, a tour bus carrying Lil Wayne in Atlanta was sprayed with bullets. No one was injured, but the incident shook the hip-hop world. Prosecutors later named both Young Thug and Birdman as figures suspected of ties to the attack, carried out by Jimmy Winfrey Thug's tour manager. Though Thug and Birdman were never directly charged due to lack of evidence, the specter of attempted murder has hovered ever since. For Wayne, the shooting was a chilling reminder in rap grudges can cross the line into real danger, and a fan can morph into someone suspected of trying to end your life. Wayne's reaction was silence. He avoided naming Thug in interviews, refused to fire back in diss tracks, and instead focused his energy on the ongoing legal war with Birdman. It was a calculated move. Sometimes silence is the strongest shield. Thug, meanwhile, oscillated between affection and provocation. On social media, he insisted he loved Wayne and had no beef, yet his actions, the Carter's 6 stunt, the provocative posturing, told another story. The two remained locked in an uneasy paradox, one a declared idol, the other a controversial disciple accused of betrayal. This wasn't merely a personal clash. It underscored a broader truth in hip-hop, the fraught dynamics of the idol-protege relationship. The new generation both reveres and seeks to surpass the old guard. Birdman, still the puppeteer behind Cash Money, seemed to position Thug as a replacement pawn during his fallout with Wayne, escalating the drama. The episode illustrated how admiration can curdle into rivalry, and how hip-hop's family ties often walk hand in hand with betrayal. Cassidy, the punchline king who couldn't shake the boss. Among the names that took shots at Lil Wayne, Cassidy stands out as the classic punching-up case. Known as Philadelphia's punchline king, Cassidy built his reputation in battle rap, delivering rapid-fire wordplay that left opponents stunned. In the early 2000s, he looked like a rising star, but prison time and career setbacks dimmed his spotlight. By the time Wayne was rocketing toward global superstardom with Thaw Carter 3, 2008, Cassidy chose to stir the pot, hoping controversy would pull him back into relevance. Cassidy released multiple freestyles mocking Wayne. In one 2007 verse, he flipped Wayne's 1999 debut, "The block is hot. My block hot, your S*** warm out there." Asterisk. The implication was clear. Wayne claimed his streets were hot, but Cassidy dismissed them as lukewarm. He went further, challenging Wayne to a public battle, questioning whether the self-proclaimed best rapper alive could truly freestyle toe-to-toe. For a battle rapper like Cassidy, such a duel could have been the spark to reignite his career, especially if fought against a superstar at his peak. Wayne, however, didn't take the bait. He never mentioned Cassidy, and a track never acknowledged the challenge. Instead, he poured all his focus into Thaw Carter 3, which went on to sell over 3 million copies in under a year, and earned him a Grammy for Rap Album of the Year. While Cassidy fired punchlines, Wayne let the charts and accolades do the talking. The silence created a stark contrast, one man shouting Wayne's name, the other acting as though Cassidy didn't exist. This clash raised a bigger question in hip-hop. What defines realness? Is it proving yourself in direct lyrical combat, or building an enduring legacy through music and innovation? Cassidy had the punchlines, but not the long-term trajectory. Wayne, by refusing to engage, allowed time itself to decide, and by 2009, when he stood on the Grammy stage, Cassidy's name was already fading from conversation. Still, the episode wasn't meaningless. It showed that every star faces challengers from below, rappers eager to test their strength against giants hoping to find cracks in the armor. The way an artist responds defines their stature. Wayne chose silence, and in this case, silence was louder than any diss track. Yet one can't help but wonder, had Wayne accepted Cassidy's battle, would hip-hop history have gained another legendary clash? Or would it have been nothing more than a fleeting scratch on his crown? From this personal challenge, Wayne's path soon collided not with an individual, but with an entire community when his fiery words crossed into Miami pride, drawing him into a confrontation with Trick Daddy, the city's self-proclaimed gatekeeper. Trick Daddy, Miami's big homie, and the battle for regional pride. In 2013, Lil Wayne was living in Miami, a city he often called his second home. But one outburst turned him from adopted son to unwelcome outsider. After being escorted out of a Miami Heat game, Wayne vented on stage in Houston shouting, F*** Miami Heat, F*** LeBron, F*** Dwyane Wade, F*** Chris Bosh*, and even claimed he had slept with Chris Bosh's wife. In hip-hop culture, where respect is everything, those words detonated like a bomb across Miami. Backlash was immediate. Trick Daddy, the veteran rapper revered as Miami's big homie, stepped forward with a warning, I represent Miami. Ain't nobody disrespecting us. From now on, if you come here, you gotta check in. His words weren't just directed at Wayne, but marked a clear line between insiders and outsiders. Pitbull dropped Welcome to Dade County as a sharp reminder. Uncle Luke penned an open letter calling for Wayne's banishment from the city. And the tension spilled into real life at King of Diamonds nightclub Trick. Daddy and his crew confronted Wayne, even sparking a brief altercation. To Miami's community, Wayne's rant wasn't about basketball. It was a slap at their collective pride. Faced with mounting pressure, Wayne did something rare: he backed down. He publicly apologized to the people of Miami, insisting he still loved the city and had only spoken in anger. It was one of the few times he bent his pride, recognizing this was no longer a clash between two men, but a standoff with an entire community willing to defend its honor. From that point forward, Wayne treaded carefully when speaking about regions he toured, aware that a single careless word could ignite flames far beyond the music. At 42, looking back, Lil Wayne can trace a thread through these scars. From Birdman to Trick Daddy, each clash carried its own lesson about loyalty, about respect, about how an artist's ego collides with the pride of others. Whether in the intimacy of family bonds, the tension of brotherhood, or the fury of a city standing tall, every confrontation left its mark. The question that lingers is this: are these scars burdens Wayne must carry forever? Or are they the very armor and wisdom he needs to keep walking the long road of his artistry? If you believe these stories about Lil Wayne and his clashes in the rap game deserve to be retold, don't forget to subscribe, share the video, and leave a comment to join the discussion. Every interaction you make is the motivation for us to keep uncovering the hidden corners and hard lessons of the hip-hop world. Together, let's make sure rap is not only music, but also the memories and stories of an entire generation.
All data, analysis, and commentary in this video are presented based on information available at the time of production.